Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together, ideally, we all become better at writing songs. I'm your host, Mike Proudfoot, and with me are the members of the Song Talk Radio Action Team. To my left or virtual right, I'm not sure how this works, Phil Emery. Phil, how are you?
Accounted and present for.
Okay, good. Present. Here, sir. And Neil Modi. How are you, Neil?
I'm doing good. Always striving for the ideally better songwriting.
Excellent.
Yes.
As we all should as songwriters.
Ideally.
Yeah, the ideal. That's what we strive for.
Yeah.
What use of the stars? Otherwise. So during the show, please send your comments and questions to @SongTalkRadio on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or at feedback@songtalk.ca, and we will share them with the rest of our audience. And please visit us at songtalk.ca to find out how you might become a guest on the show. Tonight, we are talking to Montreal's Izabelle. Welcome, Izabelle.
Hey.
So the folks, still, if they don't already know, I'll tell them a little bit about you. One of the 2019 Discovered Artists by A-Disc, and one of the top 100 Canadian finalists for CBC Music's 2020 Searchlight. That's kind of cool. This Quebec singer-songwriter has been touring internationally for over 16 years with various international show bands and appeared on this. I thought this was kind of cool. Appeared on the Just Dance 4 video game by Ubisoft.
Cool.
A lot of people want to get on video games.
Yes.
And last November, after 2 years of studies and hard work, Izabelle released her album, version 2.0. And recently, she put out a new edition of the album with 4 new French versions of the songs. Version 2.0 has a very pop groovy sound like Bruno Mars, Prince, Daft Punk, Jamiroquai, like that. Catchy melodies, powerful lyrics on social topics such as domestic violence, self-acceptance, social pressure, women empowerment, and much more. So we're very happy to welcome to Song Talk, Izabelle. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So the songs for your album were first written in English, and then you did French versions. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. At first, I wanted to do both on the same album, but as we'll probably get into that later, the French version didn't come quite easily when I did the writing process.
I was wondering, so do you normally write in English? Is that sort of, when you're writing a song, is that what you normally write in?
Yes, I start with the English version most times, but I really wanted to challenge myself and get outside my comfort zone and do a French version of my first album, so people back home in Quebec, they can really get the whole meaning of my lyrics and not have the language barrier with people from Quebec who speak French or just a little bit of English. So that's why I wanted to do the French versions, but since I've been singing in English my whole life, I was not really used to singing in French and especially not used to write in French. So it came quite a bit of a challenge, to be honest with you. I had to do a few versions before I got this right.
How do you do that?
It's so difficult.
You grew up in Montreal, right?
Yes, well, not in the city. I'm from the countryside originally.
So growing up and in your day-to-day life, even today, do you primarily speak French or do you primarily speak English?
Yeah, well, I've been touring a lot since the beginning of my career, and we've been touring all over America and Asia as well. So I spoke a lot of English. I had an ex-boyfriend who spoke only English, so I still have my accent because when I was growing up, I didn't start to speak English very early, so that's why I still got this strong accent. But I mainly sang in English my whole life, so it was kind of a struggle to find my French voice, because a lot of singers, like if you compare with I don't know, Celine Dion, if you've ever heard her singing in French, her voice is really different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So that was my main challenge.
I would I could take, Celine Dion, I could take her or leave her, when she was singing English, but then I heard her sing French. and it was just astounding. It is just like she's an amazing singer in English, but in French, it's just there's a subtlety and a grace. It's an amazing. Like I don't speak any French, and I was just blown away. But I want to find out, how do you translate songs from English to French? Like how do you take?
You don't.
Yeah, like the word.
That's what I figured out. You don't translate. You can't.
Yeah,
if you want to do a good job, you can't translate. It's impossible. The phrasing, the words, first thing in French, the words, to say one thing takes a lot more words than in English.
Many more syllables in French.
I did it in the past. I did a few French version of original songs that I've had in the past, but they were all slow songs. So I had more time to really get into what I wanted to say in my lyrics in French and really work on the topic. But since my songs on the album version 2.0 are mostly all fast-paced and upbeat songs, it was so difficult to be able to say the same thing in French with the same amount of time.
So what did you do?
The French version, it's not a completely different song. It's still the same idea, right?
It's the same song because I've worked a lot to make it happen, but I had to change
the way you say things are different.
Yeah. I kept the main idea, and sometimes, like for self-talk sessions, I had to take a different approach because it didn't make sense in French to translate every sentence one by one. It was just not. The feel wasn't right. And my biggest challenge was to keep the same groove and the same tonal accent. I don't know if you can say that in English. I
think you're talking about the cadence, because the cadence of all the lines in your French version are the same as they are in English for the most part.
And that was very difficult to do.
Yeah.
We don't think about it. Well, I didn't think about it when I decided to start this project, the French album. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna find other words, and I'm gonna probably have some hard time finding the right words so it doesn't sound cheesy in French. But then it was so much more than that. It was just to find the right sound at the end of a sentence so it doesn't break the feel and the mood. And the French is really harsh compared to English. So some words, like even if you translate a sentence, some words they don't sound nice the way you pronounce them at the end of a sentence. So this makes everything so much more complicated. In English, you can put pretty much any words at the end of a sentence, but not in French. Some words with the R and I don't know, it's just like ir. It's like the R's are just so bad at the end of a sentence in French.
Was the decision to do the French version purely commercial, as in you just wanted to reach more listeners in Quebec?
No, that was mainly because, like I said before, I wanted to make sure that people back home really get the messages behind my lyrics. And for example, if I would live in a different country, for example, I've lived in Asia for 2 years back in the days. And if I would still be in Asia, I would have probably do a Thai version of my song, just because I wanted people to understand all the messages that I want to carry in my lyrics.
So I can understand the difficulty in translating but once you've done that, is it easier or harder or the same to sing in French? I mean, it's your native tongue. What's the difference between singing in the different languages once you have it mapped out?
At the beginning, when I started to sing the song in French, my main challenge was to keep the same voice in French, because my voice tends to change when I sing in French, and I didn't want that to happen because I didn't want to have to deal with two songs, the same song, and have to sing them a different way. So it's a lot of switching in my head. I already have the lyrics to change, to switch back and forth, because some week I can sing the song in French and in English in the same day sometimes. So I wanted to be able to sing the song exactly the same way in French and in English. So that it took a lot of practice. I had to really listen to the way I sang it in English, so I could really get the French into that same feel. So right now it doesn't make a difference. I sing it in French or in English, it's exactly the same for me, but it took a lot of practice to achieve.
I see. Let's take a listen to one of the songs off your album. What do we have queued up, Phil?
It's self-talk. Can you talk about how you the writing process? Like, did it start off with a piano, or how did you actually sit down and write this?
Most times I'm starting with very basic. I start a lot with the beat, because I'm really more into upbeat music, like I said before. So I start with a beat and sometimes like a bass line. I do everything through Ableton and GarageBand. So I just program something that I like and I find is inspiring. And then I start with the melody and some pieces of like some words, an idea, and then I create the melody, and then I take the few ideas and I write the lyrics afterwards. And then I get together with my musicians and we work on the ideas that I had in mind. I'm coming with references and what I had in mind, for example, for the piano, and what type of sound do I want. And we work on that in the studio, and that's pretty much what I do most times. Sometimes it starts just with an a cappella, but for this song, it started with with very basic chords and beat.
Do you do a lot of editing after you've written, or are you tweaking it a lot as you go through the process, or?
It really depends. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes we get it right the first time and we don't change a thing until the process is done. Sometimes it takes more time. It all depends on the song.
Which one was it? Somewhere in between.
This one, it took a lot of time. Yeah, it was a long process. I have like 2 different recorded versions of this song, and we worked on the song for a year.
Mm.
Wow.
Was there a part that was giving you trouble, or was it just you kept hearing it differently?
It's just because it's the first song I recorded for the whole album. So we kind of, we were searching for the sound of the album at the same time. So we did a lot of trying. We tried a different sound. We tried different genre. So the first version was a little bit more rock. And then I didn't like that idea. I'm not a rock singer. I'm really more into pop and funk music. So, and I started to work with a music producer for the first version, and I changed my music producer in the middle of the process. So that's why it took longer for this specific song, because this was like the trial song for the whole album
your
project.
Flagship. Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a listen to it.
All right.
So press go now. Make rocket.
Yeah, don't you wanna sit down? You gotta stop pretending, get your feet back on the ground. You think you have a lot of shit to do. Everything is more important than taking care of you. Hey girl, won't you stop for a while? You know you ain't fooling when you're faking that smile. You don't always have to keep your cool. You think that badass women do care about approbation. Look around, look around, look around, look around you now. Hey, else but your reflection in the mirror. I've got my flaws and all. Take it or leave it. Have my whole bunch of suffering. I got the scars to prove it. You don't want it all. Well, then you get none of it. I'm taking no more bullshit. So if you don't like it, you can walk, walk, walk that walk. 'Cause I'm gonna talk, talk, talk that talk. You can walk, walk, walk that walk. Or hear me talk, talk, talk that talk. Hey, fella, you are more than enough. Trust me, you are perfect, just the way you are. And you deserve being respected and loved, but don't you put so much pressure on yourself. Ha. Hey, people, don't you wanna live a little? Relax for a while and put your struggles aside. You don't always have to be on top. It's okay to fall down as long as you get back up. Look around, look around, look around, look around you now. Hey, there is nobody else but your reflection in the mirror. I've got my flaws and all. Take it or leave it. Have my whole bunch of suffering. I got the scars to prove it. You don't want it all. Well, then you'll get none of it. I'm taking no more bullshit. So if you don't like it, you can walk, walk, walk that walk. 'Cause I'm gonna talk, talk, talk that talk. You can walk, walk, walk that walk. Or hear me talk, talk, talk that talk. Stuck in many conventions. We're going down, down, down. Sick and tired of oppressions. But we don't make no sound, no, no. I've got my flaws and all. Take it or leave it. Have my whole bunch of suffering. I got the scars to prove it. You don't want it all. Well, then you'll get none of it. I'm taking no more bullshit. So if you don't like my flaws and all, take it or leave it. Have my whole bunch of suffering. I got the scars to prove it. If you don't want it all, no, then you'll get none of it. I'm taking no more bullshit. So if you don't like it, you can walk, walk, walk that walk. 'Cause I'm gonna talk, talk, talk that talk. You can walk, walk, walk that walk. 'Cause I'm gonna talk, talk, talk that talk.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome.
It makes me miss performing so much to listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
myself.
Oh, I'll bet. All that
Oh
energy.
God.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it, is there?
No.
I love, was it every 4 bars, the snare drops out and it's just instead of boom chip, it's boom boom with the 2
Yeah.
bass drums.
Yeah.
I love those really subtle little changes, and it's not like a huge thing. It's not like a weird sound. It's not too aggressive, but it's just that little sort of thing that kind of makes it just a little bit different. And
Yeah.
the rhythm guitar playing is just amazing. It is
so tasty.
beautiful. Who is that?
It's Pierre-Luc Rioux. He is the guitar player from Montreal, but now he lives in LA. And he's the one who recorded the guitar on very famous songs from Sia, David Guetta, Lady Gaga. He's very, very talented.
Amazing.
Great. I like the pre-chorus too. It's really like you think, oh, this is a good chorus. Oh, it gets better when it kicks into the chorus. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
Thank
nice
you.
production.
Yeah, the pre-chorus really builds it up, and then the chorus hits, and the chorus almost has like 2 parts, because then when you get to
Yeah.
the talk, 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 walk, 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 that's yet another hook, and
Yeah.
it's just completely loaded. And the bridge is
So
a
nice.
really, really strong contrast, and it's kind of the perfect length.
Yeah.
You know, you drop
Yeah,
into the
and the
bridge,
bridge
it
is
just
very
keeps it easy
modern
for a little bit, and then
instrumentation.
boom, you're back in.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go with, I really love what Bruno Mars does because of everything you just said. Like, I find that he's doing pop music, but he really knows how to put this little extra changes that most people won't probably notice, but people who are musicians, they will really notice those subtle changes that makes the song just up a notch, like just a little more interesting for the ear. And I really like the fact that the team that I've been working with, they really they have been able to put that essence into my music.
Yeah, I always find that, like you say, musicians pick up on those little subtleties, and that's true. And I think even non-musicians, they just go, "Wow, that was cool." They don't know the why.
Yeah.
As musicians, we're always wanting to investigate the why and the how. Yeah. That's exactly what we do on this show. But for the non-musicians out there, they just dig it, and they don't know exactly the reasons. They just know they dig it.
But
yeah, that pre-chorus is really catchy. I don't know why it is, but there's something in it, and it's those little tricks.
Yeah,
it's all the changes.
Now, we also have the French version of this song, so why don't we play a bit of that?
Yeah,
we can, at least the verse anyway.
Yeah, I want to play till the chorus because, well, okay. we'll I want to ask you that question.
Okay, perfect.
You know what I want to ask.
Dites-moi à quoi ça sert de tenter l'impossible, à essayer de plaire. À qui, à quoi, bon dites-moi où ça nous mène, de délaisser l'être, le ressentir, miser sur le paraître. Pourquoi, dites-moi comment faire pour ne pas se détruire, à se juger sans cesse. Être fidèle à ses choix, ses convictions, sans finir par s'effondrer sous le poids de la pression. Rien à perdre, j'ai fait mon deuil en terre et mes illusions. Hey, comment se définir dans le standard que l'on nous montre? Parfaitement imparfaite, enfin libérée, je suis telle que je suis, pour le meilleur et le pire. J'ai trop souffert jusqu'à m'oublier, c'est apprendre ou à laisser. So if you don't like it, you can walk, 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 now walk, 'cause I'm gonna talk, 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 talk. You can walk, 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 now walk, or hear me talk, 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 now talk.
English.
You can't change the hook of a song. This part, I felt like this part makes the whole song. So I tried. It's impossible. You can't change it. And especially since you have the expression in English, you have to
walk the walk,
walk if you want to talk the talk. This expression doesn't exist in French.
Right.
So I didn't know what to come up with. I was just like, what am I going to say? It doesn't make any sense. I tried. I failed. I was just like, this is it. I'm just going to leave it there. And it's very popular in Quebec to have a little hook in English as well. So I was just like, all right, I can live with that.
You should do the same thing, but do it in English, because that's really cool. There's been a couple of songs that have had sort of French choruses.
A lot of K-pop now is go back and forth between Korean and English back and forth.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because I mean the French is really cool. It kind of gives it there's something to it. Well, I mean it I don't know what any of the words mean, so it sort of gives it an exotic feel for me.
Yeah,
I'm a
I
terrible
get what you mean.
Well, all I picked up on was a pourquoi somewhere, and I was like, okay, why? Why?
Yeah. Every beginning of the.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. I couldn't translate the. In English, I say like "Hey you," "Hey fella," "Hey people," but in French, if I would have said "Et toi," "Et le monde," it sounded so strange, so weird. I don't know. It didn't feel as cool as in English to say "Hey." So I had to change it. I changed it to pourquoi, which is why.
Yeah.
And all of the song, that's one of the songs that I had to change the most because the translation didn't work.
Wow, what a fascinating subject. We should definitely revisit this, I think, you know? It's an amazing...
You'll have to come back on our show. Yeah.
Would love that.
You got more songs and lots more to talk about. And I'm curious even just about the Montreal scene as well, just what it's like coming from there. But you may hear in the background a little bit of music, and that means that our time is almost up. So je suis désolé. I'm so excited.
No problem. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, it was great to hear it, and I want to talk more about where the ideas for the songs came from. So you'll come back and we'll do another show with you. So thank you very much for being on this show.
Thank you.
Because that's just about all the time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio. So thank you all for listening. Send us your impressions on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes. And you can also now see the show where we talk in these little boxes, which is, dead exciting. And please drop by the site at songtalk.ca. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher.com, Spotify, Podcast Addict, et cetera, et cetera. And you can sign up for our newsletter at songtalk.ca, where you can also find links to products, books, or web services we mentioned during the show. So we will also be having another Song Talk meetup. We had one this week, where songwriters get together and play songs and get feedback. So you can find out more about that, the Song Talk meetup, on our songtalk.ca site. And if you want even more of us, you could find, say, Neil. Where would people find you? Say they just don't have enough of you yet.
They can find me at neilmodi.com.
Very good. Phil, where can we find you?
Philemery.ca.
The virtual world. Excellent. And Izabelle, where do we find you?
My website is izabelleofficial.com, and you can find me on all platforms under Izabelle Artist. What is
Spell that? Izabelle, though, because it's I-Z, right?
Yeah.
I-Z-A. I don't have it.
I-Z-A-B-E-L-L-E, Artist, and I'm everywhere pretty much.
All right. Fantastic. And hopefully you'll be able to get out and sing live soon.
I can't wait. Well, I'm singing on the 7th, so that's probably my last show of 2020, 7th of November. From it's live at the www.whiteboxplay.com.
All right.
Online.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
perfect.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. And we're out.
When you faded out, I thought I'd missed the cue, but I'm like checking time, trying to be good and on time and everything.
Well, you did go slightly over, but that's okay.
That was really great, Izabelle. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
thank you. I hope I didn't have too much of a hard time explaining in English. Sometimes some topics are harder for me to explain.
Your English is gooder than ours.
Oh.
It's a fascinating concept. I've always amazed that people can write in different languages, because each language has its own idioms, its own way of saying, and it's as someone who has trouble writing lyrics in English, the fact that you can write lyrics in 2 languages is, very impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Figures of speech and vernacular carry social weight, so it's you got to be conscious of that when you write in English or in French. And I imagine, and we didn't get to it, so that's one of the reasons we have to have you back, because it's electro pop dance music, but the subjects are a little more grounded than just fluff, so it must be especially important to get it through in both English and French.
One thing I would have, if we had time, I would have asked you, I can still ask you now, Izabelle, if you were to take like the first verse and take the French version of the first verse and then translate it word for word into English, what would it sound like? Because I was just curious about like the content difference.
You mean if I would take the French verse and translate it.
And translate it word for word. Or
okay. Hang on. I'm going to have to read it and translate it.
What are those lyrics again?
Yeah. Because I'm really curious how much, if you compare, then you're comparing apples to apples, the English to the translated English. What's really the actual differences in the content?
Just type it in Google Translate, Neil.
Yes.
Yeah, do all the work.
So in French, it would be why? Tell me what's the use? What's the use for trying everything we can to try to please other people? What for? For who? Tell me, what are we getting by doing this? When we put aside how we like the feeling of being and feel, and we put everything on the looks instead.
Right. Yeah, on appearances. Yeah.
Why? Tell me, how can I succeed in not destroy in hang on. Pourquoi dites-moi comment faire pour ne pas se détruire? How can we not destroy ourselves by judging ourselves so much? How can we be faithful to our choices and our convictions without being pushed under the pressure of social pressure? So that's it.
Yeah, interesting. Which one do you like better?
It's much different.
Which version do you like better? You like the English or you like the French?
I like both.
You like one more than the other.
I thought I would. That was my biggest fear, actually. I was very scared that I would love the original version more, and that every time I would sing the French version, I would be in my head like, okay, I have to sing in French for my people in Quebec. But no, I like both. And what I find interesting is that I released this album last year, and I've been singing the song for 2 years now. And the fact that now I have the French version, it's like a little a new thing and a new twist to it, and makes me like the song even more. At one point, I was kind of getting not tired of singing it, but I preferred like the newest songs. I preferred singing the newest songs, but now I'm rediscovering the song again, but in a different way and with different emotions. Because in English, it's more like as I'm talking to you. Hey, you, don't you want to sit down? But in French, it's more like, why? Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I struggling so much in just being me and thinking that I'm enough, second guessing myself? So it's two different emotions that I can put into the same song, but in a different way.
It's a different perspective, it's like the French is a little more introspective, and the English is a little more outward facing.
Fascinating stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah, really great. Yeah, great tune. And I was thinking, you got a bit tired about singing it for the last 2 years, but wait until it becomes a huge hit, and you'll have to sing it all the time for the next 40 years.
I know, but it's just that sometimes like you have new songs out. And then you're like, I'd rather be singing the new songs than this one that I've been singing for 2 years. I still love to sing all of my songs, but sometimes like, you have a new tune that you want to sing more often. But right now I could sing anything. I miss performing so much. I used to perform 3 to 4 nights a week. And now I think I've been performing maybe 20 shows this year compared to maybe, I don't know, almost 120 last year. So it's just like I'm going crazy out here.
You do anything online?
I did a concert live from a studio session in July, and I'm doing one on November 7th. But this one is in like a big TV studio. So it's going to be more like with the lighting system and a big team, a big camera team. And it's on November 7th at 8 p.m. If you want to look it up, it's going to be online, whiteboxplay.com, $20 per ticket. And it's going to be very, very awesome.
We'll
cool.
definitely send that out. We should get the info for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you have, I mean, you said you did it in French for your people in Quebec, but what about overseas in France or Belgium? Do you have, like, that must be how big is that market for a French speaking artist?
It's quite big, but I haven't explored it yet. I've been performing more in Asia and the States. So I have a few fans in Morocco because I've been performing there, but I've never been to Europe.
Does the US care about the French version? They just want to hear the English.
Oh, they just want to hear the English.
But
right
not
now,
even in New Orleans?
Yeah, New Orleans, maybe.
Well, that's true.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't take any chance. I just send them the English version.
Communicate as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right. Well, this was a very good show. Thanks so much for coming on. It was
thank you,
a great
Izabelle.
show. Yeah,
And
really
thank you,
enjoyed it.
guys.
Great show on have a great show on the 7th.
Thank you. I just can't wait. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for having me again.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.